Squanto in South Yarmouth, Massachusetts. See more better with freeprescriptionlenses.com. And let me start off by saying, well, thank you for the purchase of the Oakley 8134 LatchKey. This one is the color satin gunmetal with red. You originally wanted the color 05, but it was on back order for a few weeks, so to come out of Italy, actually a little bit longer than a few weeks. So plan B was color 06, the satin gunmetal red. And let me also start off by saying that I am an authorized Oakley dealer. As a small independent optician, I was told that I'm not allowed to individually list the prices, the pictures of the frames with prices on my website. So Squanto emailed me. He told me what frame, color, size he wanted, and I told him price, availability, and this is what we ended up doing. So anyone else out there wants a frame, just tell me what model number, size, and color Oakley. I will contact you and let you know the availability of that, the price, how long it would take me to ship. And this is, again, where my little flashlight be at. Of course, it comes with a little plastic sleeve on the left temple, as all the frames from Luxottica do, to prevent the temples from rubbing together, and I will put that on there when I ship to you. But this is the Oakley 8134 LatchKey, color 06, the satin gunmetal with red in the 52 eye size. It comes in a 50 eye size, slightly smaller. This gunmetal has like a burnt red at the bottom. The hinge plate, or I should say the LatchKey, is, I'm sure that's what they call it, has a burnt red as well as the inside of the frame. So I'm going to pop out the original demo lenses. The other unique thing about this frame, it is a metal frame that has to be cut like a plastic because there are no eye wire screws to undo. Now ain't that a peach, as they say here in the South, and but I don't want him to wait any longer. So let me go ahead and begin. I'm going to pop this into the tracing element of my blocker and hit start. You are Secret Agent 1513. If you ever want new lenses for this frame, you can see the last aviator I did. Speaking of that, just did this Ray-Ban 3025. It comes with the blue mirrored lens, but they wanted it with this green purple mirror. Isn't that pretty tough? Got to get that one shipped today. So, but let's go ahead and trace the shape of your frame. A little stylus is going to pop up and go around and trace the inside bevel of the right side of the frame before doing the same thing on the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed in quality. You buy a genuine, authentic Oakley frame and you'll receive one free pair of clear single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses. My receipt has my federal ID tax number, so if you have vision insurance or unused health savings account flex dollars, you will get reimbursed for this purchase. In just a moment, that shape will pop up onto the computer. You can see this is job ID number 1513. 1513. And in just a moment, come on, pop for me. Pop up on the screen. Squanto's tired of waiting. The man needs his glasses. Okay, come on now. Everyone's tired late at night. Let's move on to the next screen. And the pupillary distance for the right eye, 32.5. I don't have to do anything because that's where the computer starts at. I do want to raise the optical center, the seg height, up to 25. Hit that button. Change this to progressive, and I've got your progressive lenses already laid out. Now these are the Essilor Ideal Advanced. This is a premium digital freeform Essilor progressive lens. It has Transitions XTRAactive Gray and Crizal Sapphire built into the lens. So I'm going to take two blocks, which has a double-sided adhesive sticker, pull the paper away to make the black side sticky, line up a magnet with that one there in the back, and get everything lined up just so, and hit the button. The arm's going to come down, place the block onto the right lens. We're going to do the same thing now for the left lens. Pupillary distance for that one is 33, so we're going to tap the plus button one time to go from 32.5 up to 33. Same optical center height. Pull the paper away to make the black side sticky. Line up the magnet. Get everything lined up just so. The blue crosses the geometric center of your frame. Your eye is just above that and inset by about 1 millimeter or 2. I'm going to hit that button. The arm's going to come down and place the block onto the left lens. Now this is the edger. This is what's going to do all the work while I run my mouth. I'm going to go ahead and get this programmed. These are polycarbonate lenses. If they were plastic, high index plastic or Trivex, I would select that. I'm not going to polish the edge of your lens, and I'm only going to put a safety bevel on the rear concave surface of your lens. Press this on there firmly. The magnet is now going to attach itself to another magnet there in the chuck. Or by now, you know I like to call it the Charles because I don't know this machine well enough to call it Chuck. The clamp shuts. The lens is going to be traced by 2 wide styluses, making sure that it's large enough to fit into the frame. And you can see as it's going around tracing that shape. And then the old carpenter saying measure twice, cut once. It's measuring the thickness of the lens at every point to know exactly and precisely where to place the bevel so you have the least amount of edge thickness showing. Of which in this frame, even though it's a thin metal with your high astigmatism, higher than average astigmatism, you should have barely any edge thickness whatsoever. Now there is water running to catch the optical sawdust that will come from your lens when it cuts down from this size to this size. Now polycarbonate lenses, as you've heard me say, cut dry, meaning that water will not spray onto the lens as it does for the plastic, high index plastic and Trivex lenses. Now water will spray, but only for the last 20 seconds just to wash away any optical debris that may be beginning to form around the edge of your lenses. But as I mentioned, your lenses are made out of polycarbonate, which are 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. They're virtually unbreakable. These are high impact ballistics grade lenses, the same lens material that our soldiers wear overseas in combat zones to protect their eyes from shrapnel and from flying debris. By the way, all service members get Oakley, so they're wearing that polycarbonate lens to protect their eyes in the same frames that you're getting. These are also the same lens material that OSHA requires for all factory workers to wear when they're on the factory floor, mechanics, chemists, that kind of stuff, landscapers. It also has 100% UVA and UVB protection built into the lens. Now you have the Transitions XTRAactive Gray. Transitions were the very first original blue light blocking lenses that are very popular now, the HEV lenses. Transition Signature 7 block about 30 to 40% of the harmful blue light. The Transitions XTRAactive block 50 to 70% harmful blue light. Now you also got the Crizal Sapphire, which is the clearest out of all the Crizal Sapphire coatings. It also has the least amount of reflex, meaning the reflection back when someone's looking at you. So water is spraying onto the lens, which tells me it's in the last 20 seconds. In just a moment, a little lever is going to come out. At the end of that lever is a spinning disc. And that's what's going to apply the safety bevel on the back surface of the lens. And essentially, it's a very fine grit sandpaper just to smooth away any rough surfaces left over from the cutting process. Now, Crizal Sapphire it takes 8 different coatings vaporized onto your lens, and the machine that applies that costs well over $1 million and takes over 24 hours because you have to pull them out, dry them off, give them a bath in between each coating. And so because of the time and the expense, they put the industry's hardest scratch coating on there to protect your time and investment. Let's see if the lens fits first time around. I'm going to do something known as the cold mount. It's usually how I mount plastic lenses into plastic frames, but because you have a metal eye wire with no screw, it's actually built in on the inside, and I would have to take this frame apart, which I don't want to do right now. I've been doing this long enough. I know what I can do and what I can't do. I'm going to tuck it in, run the lens around, and actually let's take it down about 1/10 of a millimeter. That old carpenter saying you can do 1/10. You can always cut more off of a board. You can never add it back on. That's what I'm doing. I start a little bit large and then work my way down. Now this frame, the Oakley 8134 LatchKey in either 50 or 52 eye size in any of the available colors and unavailable colors if you're willing to wait 2 weeks as it gets shipped from the overseas warehouse. The frame sells for $193. The Essilor Ideal Advanced Digital Freeform Progressive Lens adds $149.99. The Transitions XTRAactive in gray or brown adds $99.99. Now there is an XTRAactive green, but that adds about $20 and actually adds 2 weeks onto the lens process because it's only made in one lab. So that lens, the XTRAactive green, would be $119.99. This one in gray or brown is $99.99. Of course, the Crizal Sapphire adds $139.99 for a total of $582.97. Now, anyone out there with single vision lenses who's never worn the invisible bifocal thinks that's pretty high, and I can understand that rationale from your reference point. But anyone else who If you go to your doctor's office and ask for what's a top tier premium Essilor progressive lens, they're going to tell you about $300 to $400. So $150 is a great price. Everyone else charges about $150 to $180 for the upgrade to XTRAactive. And of course, most people charge $160 to $200 just for Crizal Sapphire. So believe it or not, that is a great price. Now I have to charge what Oakley tells me on the frame. I have to do that for all of Luxottica's frame. Luxottica is the parent company of Oakley. They own Ray-Ban, Polo, Versace. What other lines do I carry from them? So I do that, but no one tells me how much I have to sell the lenses for, and that's why I give you a pair of free single vision prescription lenses. The progressives I do have to charge more for, but I just don't charge as much as everyone else. Alright, so let's see here. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to need to take it down another 1/10 of a millimeter, so I'm going to do that. And hit retouch. I apologize that the right lens takes a little bit longer. Once we get the size of the right lens down, we'll just flip it over, cut the left, and that will go in there. I should not be apologize for having to be a perfectionist. I cut every pair of lenses that get shipped worldwide. You want a perfectionist like me cutting your lenses. I do not want a loose lens. I do not want a tight lens. Eventually that could cause the frame to warp or bow. That can also shorten the life of the frame, give it an ugly cosmetic look, plus also make your lenses warp, distorting your vision. So I take that little bit extra at the beginning. It's corny, but that's the difference between ordinary and extraordinary, is that little extra at the beginning, and I'm going to take the time to do it right. It's not like you live next door to me and can pop over and have me fix it. You get one chance to make a first impression on the internet. That's why people over 4 years, I've been doing this. I was just looking this weekend. My first sale on the internet was June 25th of 2014 to a service member who was living overseas. And I need to email him today and let him know that. My wife reminded me. My wife's a data analyst and she went through. She knows how to check all the back pages on the website, all the data, all the reports that you can create. And I just happened to ask yesterday. She says, let me see. And she pulled up that information. It was amazing. I want to contact that service member and thank him, not just for the service he does for this country, but look at that. Look at that. Fitting in there so great. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. So I took it down 0.20 of a millimeter, 1/5 of a millimeter. I'm going to mark that on here in case I ever need to send you more. Flip this over to L. Press that on there. Flip that over to L. Press that on there firmly. Hit retouch. Just like before the door closes, the clamp shuts, the lens is going to be traced again by the 2 white styluses, making sure that it's large enough to fit into the frame. And you can see as it's going around tracing the shape. Just like before, measuring the thickness of the lens at every point to know exactly and precisely where to place the bevel so you have the least amount of edge thickness showing. Look at that Squanto. How much do you have? 2 1/4 diopters of astigmatism and no edge thickness. Look at that. Look at that. That's why I custom make every pair of lenses for progressives. Ooh, that block came off easily. Pull that off. Use my hand-approved drying method. Use my back of the hand drying method. Throw that in there. Add to my sticker collection. Turn the fine-tune knob to 91. That is the axis for your right eye. I'm going to put it in just above that black dot, which is where your pupil will be sitting. Check the power. I am getting plus 50, exactly halfway between 0 and 1. Plus 50. That's because you have 2 steps of nearsighted correction. In order to see far away, you need 2 steps of power on the second rung of a ladder. Everything starts at 0, also known as plano, and goes up in quarter increments, which is represented by your left eye. 1 step, 2 steps, 0.75, 1, and so on. Now, once we get everything, your lenses have a plus sign. They actually magnify. With your glasses off, everything is much too small, so it will magnify to the correct size. Once it's the correct size, the majority of your prescription is the Astigmatism Correction, known as cylinder. And you need 9 steps of correction at the 91 meridian. I'm going to check that, so we're at plus 50. Plus, we're going to go minus 225 from, we're going to subtract 225 from plus 50, and we end up at minus 175, 1 tick mark away from 2 in the red. How do we get there? if you were 50 cents in the black and someone borrowed $2.25, or you owed someone $2.25, you would be 175 in the red. That's where we're at. Now, the meridian, the 91st meridian, a straight line is 0 to 90 to 180. That just tells us where to turn that fine-tuned knob to make everything nice and crisp. Plus 50 this way, minus 2 1/4 this way. We're going to line that up to the 91th meridian. 91th, listen to me. Now, your left eye, you only need 1 step of nearsighted correction, but you need an additional 12 steps of astigmatism correction at the 90th meridian. You're very close. These two numbers could be anywhere from 0 to 180. It's amazing they're only 1 degree apart. Now, you have an add, a bifocal strength. It means in addition to what's up top. So we have another 150 in the bottom. So if you were to get reading glasses, you need a +2 for the right eye, plus 175 for the left. However, now if you're just balancing a checkbook or reading a menu real quick, that'll work. But because they don't correct for your astigmatism correction, if you were to read for more than 10 to 15 minutes on reading glasses, you would get eye fatigue because they just don't take away those fuzzy edges. Uncorrected astigmatism makes 6s and 8s look alike, or the letters P and F. And that's why you get eye fatigue. I'm going to run my thumbnail around. Here's a little fun fact I don't mention in my videos. 25% of your brain... No, hang on. It's more than that. Oh, I forgot. I didn't know there was... I mathed wrong. I didn't know there was going to be a test on this, but... over 25%, I'll do conservative, over 25% of your brain is reserved for sight alone. No other organ gets that much attention. No as much processing speed as your brain does to be able to see far away. So let's do this. I'm going to tuck this in. See if we can get that to pop in there just right. And actually, let's do this by hand. Let's take this block off. I'm going to go old school. Essentially, you've seen this wheel that takes everything down. I'm going to do the same. I have a hand stone here. I'm going to do it by hand. I'm going to do everything until it pops in there. Just easily. Now, what I'm doing, a cold mount on a metal frame. Most opticians out there would be terrified to do what I am doing, but especially because most opticians don't do their own lab work. There we go, there we go. That fits in there perfectly. Now let's come down here. We're going to turn that fine-tune knob to 91. Put it in over that black dot. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Plus 1/4, 1 tick mark away from 0. Let's check your 3 diopters of astigmatism, which is most of your prescription. And we end up at minus 275, 1 tick mark away from 3 in the red. Now your pupillary distance for the right eye, 32.5, 33 for the left, for a total of 65.5. I'm going to turn the card around, place the PD stick against my thumb, and when we hold it up to the left lens, we're getting 65.5, so that is cut perfectly. Your optical center is 25. That's where your bifocal height is. And when we look down at the middle of the frame, now try and guess the very bottom, not the closest point, not the furthest point, but right in the middle, the deepest. If I was to move that right there, we'd be at 25. Do the same thing on this side. We're at 25. So that is cut perfectly. As I like to joke, I couldn't have done a better job if I'd cut these lenses myself. Now, this is the point in every video that I mentioned, that this purchase and every purchase is tax-free in North Carolina. Even though these are on the internet and some people are having to charge tax now, North Carolina does not charge tax on glasses, so you'll never be charged tax. You also get free shipping anywhere in the U.S. with every purchase from me. But when you get these in the mail, there is a small chance that these could fit too loose or too tight. However, there's an 80% chance that one side is going to sit higher than the other. That's because 80% of people have one ear that is higher than the other. Let me clean that off. And because of that statistic, 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. But I'm going to get these in standard alignment first, also known as a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set them on the counter and press down. There is no wobble. I need another one of my frames. This one I never adjusted because it's my surgery glasses. He can appreciate this. I'm a presbyope. I'm a latent presbyope. I need to wear progressives also. Now this is the classic line style bifocal. But what I do is I have my computer distance at the top and extra bionic power at the bottom. So if I'm trying to tighten a black screw in a black frame, I can see it in there. because I'm just on and off and I don't walk around, I never adjusted these, but normally my glasses wobble on the counter. Now that's the great thing about these Oakleys. I'm wearing the 8132 cross range switch, which means you can change out the temples just by pulling down on this lever. But these are called pilot temples because if you can imagine a World War II fighter pilot, or even currently, if they had a helmet on, you can slide these temples on and off without having to take the helmet off, as if you were to put these on that had more curvature. But when you get these, put mine back on so I can see what I'm doing. By the way, I am wearing the 8132 in color. What color is this? You think I'd have it memorized. I left my magnifying glass elsewhere, but this is Universe Blue. I do know that. I think it's color 02. Having said that, my new frame came in. I always order one for me and then someone orders it. But I'm finally getting my new Oakley 8149 color 03, which is the crystal and carbon fiber pewter temples keyhole bridge. It's actually very close to this frame, but a little bit rounder. But this is the Pitchman Art Carbon, and I finally got smart and ordered 3 at one time, because every time I ordered one for me, someone would buy it and I'd give them mine and I'd have to reorder. So I'll be making some new lenses for me. You'll be seeing this frame come up in my video pretty soon. But I'm going to flip these over, press down. By the way, as I mentioned, because of that statistic, 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. So if it's too loose or too tight or high on one side, Squanto, just go by your doctor's office, whoever makes them. And again, 99% do free adjustments. Just tell them if it's too loose or too tight or high on one side. It only takes about 45 seconds to a minute to adjust a pair of glasses properly. But these are almost self-correcting. It is the amazing thing about these pilot temples. I don't know how they do that, but they almost never need adjusting. But so yeah, no wobble there. Flip that over, no wobble. Close each temple to make sure they overlap properly, and they do, that neither temple is askew like that. So this is what your lenses look like the first time before I have activated them, meaning that I'm exposed them to a strong burst of ultraviolet protection, ultraviolet light that will cause these lenses to turn dark. Let me clean that off. And here's another teaching moment for people out there. These are the Transitions XTRAactive Gray. I am wearing the Transition Signature 7. So if I were to hold this over something white, here's your clear lenses. Clear lenses retain about 1 to 2% hue, while indoors nothing is perfectly clear. My lenses have about 3 to 5% hue. The Transition Signature 7, the XTRAactive, have about 5 to 7% retention in color while indoors. So let me go ahead and activate them in my strong UV light. Now, as you can see, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds for transition lenses to darken, a little bit longer when you come back inside, about a minute to a minute 15. And I know I'm repeating myself, but Squanto and everyone else, pay attention. All transition lenses will get dark on day 1 and continue to darken every day for the first couple weeks that you're exposed to the sun outside. After that, they will work for years at maximum performance. The only time that my Signature 7 lenses won't work is if I'm behind the windshield of a car. The windshield absorbs the sun's harmful UV light, so that prevents your dashboard from cracking while sitting in the sun all day. Now, the Transitions XTRAactive will get 30 to 50% dark behind a windshield. If anyone has a convertible or motorcycle, both lenses will darken. Now, Transitions are temperature sensitive, meaning they'll get darker when it's 85 and below than they will when it's 95 and above. But I remind everyone, when it's 85 degrees outside, you're miserable, they're miserable. Nobody works 100% when it's 100 degrees outside. Having said that, these XTRAactive lenses are designed for extra active people, hence the name. So they will get darker in hotter weather. I'm not sure how much you have in South Yarmouth, Massachusetts, but that is something to consider for anyone who works in hotter climates or just wants a darker lens. If you're light sensitive, you may like that little bit extra tint that it keeps indoors. It is virtually clear unless, and again, I'm not saying this to make fun of someone, unless you're albino and have so little pigment in your skin, no one is going to see the color of this lens with your complexion behind it. So this is the first time they've been activated. They're going to keep getting darker. Come on, Squanto, we talked about this, don't you remember? So these are the Transitions XTRAactive Gray with Crizal Sapphire mounted into the Oakley 8134 latch key. size 52 in color satin gunmetal, which happens to be color 06. So, if you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram as freeprescriptionlenses.com. On Twitter as freerxlenses. If you have any questions about which Oakley frame that you want or anything else, email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. I know that's a mouthful to have to type in this, so just click the contact me button on the website. And again, or you can leave a question or comment in the comment section below. But Squanto, South Yarmouth, Massachusetts, again, thank you for your purchase. Thank you for your patience while we had to get the right color for you. You originally wanted the 05 wood grain, and that was going to take too long, so we went with the 06 satin gunmetal that has the accent burnt red color. So I do thank you for the purchase of the Oakley 8134 latchkey. Again, size 52, color 06 satin gunmetal with the red accents. And everyone else has got the chance to see how, you can see how these are already lightening them up almost back to clear while I'm talking. That's how fast they work now. Years ago, transition lenses took a long time to turn dark, a long time to turn back to clear. Now they fixed that. The only downside is it takes 2 weeks for them to get really dark. That's the trade-off. With the pros come the cons. So, but this time of year, they're all going to get really dark. It's just when someone gets a new pair in July or August. That's when they just won't get as dark as they will once it starts to cool off in September and October. But these will get really dark and then lighten really fast. Again, thanks for your purchase and patience. And everyone else has got a chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.